this one together. We have two equations, a system of equations that is working together to come up with a solution. This is page 249. And the problem is, the way it is, things can't cancel. The variables don't match exactly. So we're going to need to make that happen. Does it look easier to turn a 3 into a 5 or to turn a 2 into a 6?
2 into 6.
Turn the 2 into a 6. So take the entire top equation and multiply it by 3. That way we would have 6's in the middle. So write that with me. Negative 5x times 3 is negative 15x. Negative 2y times 3 is negative 6y. And 6 times 3 is 18. The second equation doesn't even have to change. The y's are already set to cancel. So we just rewrite it. 3x plus 6y equals 6. What happens here? Good. Y's cancel. The x is negative 15 and positive 3. What does that make? Negative 12x. Good. And 18 and 6? So x equals?
2. Negative 2.
Negative 2. Good. Okay, so your goal hasn't changed. Your goal is to still try to get one of the variables to cancel, but you're going to have to do a little bit of work to make that happen. So now let's go into this equation and say it's 3 times x, but x we know is negative 2, plus 6y equals 6. Negative 6 plus 6y, I hear the answer over there already. That's good. And then you add 6 to both sides, and you get 6y equals 12, and then yes, y equals 2. That would be written, was which one first, the negative 2 or the 2?
Negative 2.
The x and then the y. Do not forget to check it. Always, always check it. The x's are negative 2. That would be negative 5 times negative 2 is 10. And 3 times negative 2 would be negative 6. Plug in the y's. Y is 2, so what would we get right here? 2 times y? 4. And then 6 times negative 2?
12.
Negative, oh, so I'm sorry, y. 6 times 2 is 12, you're right. Alright. Negative 12?
Negative 4.
Negative 4, yeah, and the minus is right there. So check it, 10 minus 4, does that one work? Yes. Negative 6 plus 12, you get a positive 6? So it works. Okay, so that's what you have to do. Let's look at the ones for you to try on your own, and let's get them started. So when you multiply by 2, you get 6x plus 2y equals 10. Did you get that? Did you multiply every single thing by 2?
Yes.
And then on the bottom, it's 2x minus 2y equals negative 2.
Yes.
And then the y's cancel. You have 8x equals 10 minus 2.
No.
I said 8 and I wrote 6. I said the right thing, I wrote the wrong thing.
8.
And then x equals 1.
And then
Now-
you put it in the top one.
All right, let's plug into the top one. 3x plus y equals 1. So in place of x, no, equals 5. In place of x, I'm going to use the 1. So 3 times 1 plus y equals 5. 3 plus y equals 5, and y equals 2. Plug it in right up here, and you'll see that it works. Okay? So some of you figured out. Some people had a 0, some people had a negative 2, and you plug it in, you'll see whether it works or not. And that's how on the day of the test or a quiz, you'll have confidence that you got it right by whether or not it plugs in and it works. All right. Questions?
3 plus y. Y is nothing. So 3 plus y equals 5.
It's still there. He said he doesn't have to change it.
All right, number 2. Let's start off with this one. Does it look easier to turn a 3 into a 6 or 3 into a 4?
3 into
All right, so what would you have to multiply the bottom by to make that happen?
Negative 2.
2.
2.
Because this already has a minus sign and this already has a positive sign, you don't have to change the signs. Only if the sign is wrong to begin with.
Wait, what if it's still a negative? Do the negative turns a negative to a positive?
Right, but we want this one to be a negative 6, so it'll go with a positive 6. We want this one to stay as a negative. So you get 6x plus 4y equals 42, and what do you get for the bottom? Negative 6x, good.
Plus 6y
Equals
negative 36.
negative 12. That's not squared, it's times 2.
Oh,
Negative 6 times 2. Alright, solve that one.
Wait, 5, 6.
I heard 5 3 and I heard 6 3. Did you plug it in and check it?
It's 6, 3.
5 is the y?
6, what? How? I got 3.
I got 5 3. Yay!
Oh, 30 plus 12 is negative.
I heard both of those. I thought for sure people plugged it in with the 6 3. I did.
I did 5 3. I got 3.
Did you plug it in too? Okay. Christian, any question? It's based on the stuff we did yesterday, so you have notes. I know. That's why it might be a little confusing, but I do have the notes posted on the video, so I want you to get those figured out too. Alright, so the x's cancel. You've got 10y equals 42 minus 12 is 30, y equals 3. Then, so that part is correct. Then you plug it into either one. Personally, I avoid negatives if I can. I take this one and I do 6 times x, I don't know, but y I do know.
Oh. I don't know what I was saying.
And you get 12.
I'm an idiot. I plugged into X.
I do that sometimes too and I completely forget. But if you plug it and check it, then you go back and look. 6x equals 12. 42 minus 12 is 30. X equals 5. When you plug it back in and check it, that one will work. 30 plus 12 would be 42. Alright, one more thing I need to show you. And then you'll have time to practice. We're not going to take notes all day long. But let's do this one together now. Turn to problem 4. Unless it's still on that same page, is it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Alright. Look at this one carefully. Look at this up here because they changed now. You've got a 4x and a 3x. You can't turn one of those into the other. You've got a 3y, bless you, and a negative 2y. You can't turn a 2 into a 3, so this is going to have to change slightly. When there's not one that's easy to change, I always look for the one where, we're going to change both of them, but I always look for the one, if possible, where there's a positive and a negative already. If you want to do these, then you'll have to make one positive, one negative. So let's focus on the y's right here. You think about the least common multiple. What number do 3 and 2 both go into?
2.
6. I heard 6. We want to turn 3 into 6, and we want to turn 2 into 6. Okay, you find the LCM, the least common multiple of the two numbers you're trying to work with. So keeping that in mind, the top equation is times 2. We get 4x times 2 is 8x. We get 3y times 2 is 6y. And we get negative 19 times 2 is negative 38. Keep your calculators out and make sure that all my calculations are correct. For this one, though, I'm trying to turn negative 2 into 6. So what does that have to multiply by? 3. Good. Actually, this one I do want it to be a negative 6. Questions on that? So now it's 3x times 3, 9x. Don't forget, every single thing has to be multiplied. Negative 2 times 3 becomes negative 6y, which is what we wanted. So that those can cancel. And then negative 10 times 3, negative 30. Questions on that? Please double check all my positives and negatives. Alright, I heard I'm confused. Let me just say this one more time. 3 can go into 6 and 2 can go into 6. So you have to find the number that they both go into. So this one cancels. We get 17x equals negative 68. Is that negative 4? Can someone do negative 68 divided by 17 for me?
4.
Okay.
4.
Negative 4, good. Negative divided by positive. Alright, now I need to figure out y. Pick the easiest one, it doesn't matter which one. Top one, okay. So we're going to do 4 times x. Do I know x? Yeah, that's the one I plug in. Plus 3y, I don't know y, so that's the one I leave alone. Equals negative 19. That makes negative 16.
Y is equal 1. Y equals 2.
We've got a disagreement here, so let's see which one it is. You add 16 to both sides, and you end up with negative 3, right? 3y equals negative 3, so y equals negative 1. And we need to still check it. Negative 4, negative 1. When we check it, we'll know for sure. So, my x is negative 4. That would make a negative 16 right here. And on the bottom, I would get 3 times negative 4 would make it negative 12. Whoops. Negative 12. All right, for my y's, y is negative 1. What do I get right here? Y is negative 1. Negative 3. And what do I get for this one? Y is negative 1. Plus 2. Negative 16 minus 3 makes negative 19. Negative 12 plus a positive 2 makes negative 10. So they both worked. Thank you. Yeah. So they both worked, and that means we did it right. All right, so let's talk about the 2 columns on the bottom of your page and